And a pleasant good Monday night, everyone. Welcome inside Iron and Ale as we bring you our weekly radio show talking Liberty Flames basketball. My name is Alan York. Great crowd on hand here at Iron and Ale tonight. Our weekly show, once again, always brought to you by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. Big show coming up here. We're going to have head coach Carrie Green of the women's team on with us. Also, we're going to have head coach Richie McKay at the bottom of the hour. We're also on Facebook Live. Jamie Hall, our co-pilot tonight. Jamie, how you doing?
Outstanding. It's the middle of basketball season. It's about 18 degrees outside. It's my favorite time of the year.
But it's hot in here at Iron and Ale. Some really good food deals going on as well, and a really good crowd again on a Monday night. It's been a while since we've been here, and our other live show coming up on February the 17th. If you'd like to become part of the show, you can email us, lfsn@liberty.edu. You can also tweet at us at LU Flames Voice. Again, we're on Facebook Live, and you taking questions on the Facebook Live as well, Jamie?
I'll do my best.
All right.
Yep.
Women's basketball coming in after a big overtime win over Lipscomb on Saturday. The men also beating Lipscomb at the Vine Center on Saturday night. A couple of double headers both men and women have won this year. And again, both teams vying for some good bids come March. The women's team comes in 10-8, 3-2 in the league. Couple of games out behind first place FGCU. And here to tell us more about the women's team, let's welcome in the head coach, Carrie Green. Coach, how you doing here tonight?
Doing great, Alan, doing great. And this is a great crowd here, a good-looking crowd. My wife's sitting right over there, a great-looking crowd.
I know, and we also see your wife and Robert Goodman, our marketing director. There is some Liberty goodies here. If you want some schedule posters and some giveaway items, they are here tonight. So if you're out and about, come on by Iron and Ale, and we'd love to have you here for the radio show. Coach, some nail biters last couple of times out for your team. Let's recap this 14-point win on Saturday. Congratulations with the win over Lipscomb.
Well, I think it really started off with we couldn't do anything right, for the first quarter and second quarter, and really struggling from an offensive perspective. But being a little more consistent with their defense and great third quarter. The young ladies came out with a lot of energy. And first couple quarters, too, Kean Green and Ashton Baker, they picked up a couple fouls, and they spent more time on the bench over there beside me, and we really needed them out there. And in that third quarter, especially Ashton gave us a spark and got us going. I think, like you were saying, we're down like 12 points at halftime, and I think we even got down as many as 14 or 16 through the game. So it was looking very dark for us, and but a lot of our freshmen and our bench came in and did an excellent job of taking up the slack. But we needed those starters, those people with experience, to come in. And certainly Adele Bowder, as you said, I'm exhausted from the last two games, and last two games have been overtime. And certainly glad that we could get this one against a very scrappy, much improved, a hungry Lipscomb team that is going to cause some ripples within our conference this year. So you got to be ready to play every night.
Coach, last two games in overtime, you're not helping our hearts for one thing, but but kind of two different scenarios getting there. But in both cases, it took a big push to kind of get back into the game. Obviously, you'd rather have it work out to where you're not having to make that big push. But you got to be proud of your young ladies, down by 12 against North Alabama, and like you said, down 14 against Lipscomb.
Yeah, we've got the potential. We've got the skills. We've got talents. Biggest problem coaching this group is maybe the maturity and consistency. And usually they go hand in hand. If they're mature, they're going to be consistent. And, it's Kean's junior year playing. You have Ashton Baker. You have Bridget Ristadt. And then you throw Emily Lytle, and they're really juniors. They may be a red shirt, but because of injuries or transfers. But we've lost to two teams that are a little more seasoned, I'm making excuses for us not being consistent, but we can play with those teams. We just have to be a little more mature, and I think you don't have to see or look very far when you see our men play and the success that they're having. It's because they're experienced, and they play at their own tempo, and we've got to sort of learn those lessons. But certainly explosive enough to compete, and certainly glad that we've been able to do that. But I just wish we could be a little more consistent with it.
Kean Green got her 1,000th point last weekend. And again, coming off an injury from a year ago. Is there a point where you think, and the staff watches film, Coach, that I don't want to say, yeah, she's back, but, man, we certainly missed her from a year ago?
Yeah, well, no doubt we certainly miss her. We got to the championship game last year, and we were hoping to get back in there again and have her making a major impact on the inside play. We look forward to that and look forward to her to continue to develop this season. She's got a lot of skills and leadership qualities that really has helped our team, and we certainly need her to take care of business inside so we can have a little more balance with our attack.
We're live in Iron and Nail here tonight talking Liberty Flames basketball, joined by head women's coach Carrie Green. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, be joined by the head coach of the men's team, Richie McKay. And Coach, no midweek game. All teams go through it in the ASUN this week. Give us an idea of how that is a positive when it comes to rest and different things like that.
Well, today we would normally be playing today, but we did have a short practice, a different type of practice. We wanted to keep in rhythm. So typically with our games being on a Saturday and a Monday, we come back and we practice on a Tuesday and review the video. But there's some players that are on the bench that needs to stay in rhythm. So a Tuesday, they may get more playing time, a harder practice on Tuesday after a game, and we may have players that get over 30 minutes playing time. They need to be nurtured and shoot free throws or something on days like on Tuesday. But you cannot take a day off for your bench. Your bench is going to be so critical as you go through the season. And already as we begin our conference play, we had like 3 turned ankles. And they've been nursing them. And a good example, Maya McMillan, in the 4 games before we took our Christmas break, she had gotten 28 rebounds in 4 games, averaging 7 rebounds a game, being a major impact on the success of our program, to the point that the Classic in Kansas City, she was named to the All-Classic team. She turned her ankle. In the next 4 games combined, she gets 9 rebounds in 4 games. And she's just now starting to get back in rhythm. I'm glad to say the last game we really needed her with Kean in foul trouble, and she could step in at the post play, the 5 position, and she came up with 7 rebounds that were very critical and impactful in her game. I think she had 4 points, didn't she, Jamie? She had 4 points in that game, 7 rebounds, and we need her. We certainly need her, and we think that with the depth of our team that's going to be a plus for us towards the end of the season.
Coach, you were talking about the schedule and kind of the way things fall with 2 games in 3 days. You had that similar situation in the Big South, but you were talking about bus trips. Now you're talking about plane trips. It's like the beginning of the year, you're in New Jersey on a Saturday, and before the night's over, well, actually ended up being 2 o'clock Sunday morning, but it was supposed to be before the night was over. You're in Fort Myers, Florida. I think that was like 1,300 miles apart, but at the same time, less time out of classes for the student athletes, so it's kind of a juggling act. How do you like the way the schedule works?
Well, we've been blessed, and if we have the resources, and specifically, you got to have the resources for your travel, or the travel and the stress and the fatigue will certainly impact your success. There's no question about it. So even though we've had opportunities, we've been flying, obviously needed, forced to fly, but commercial. But when we have the resources to be able to do a charter flight, the girls, they really feel appreciated. They're refreshed. You get on that plane, and within an hour and a half, you're landing somewhere, and they're getting as many peanuts and popcorn and everything they want on that plane. So the charter flights have been certainly refreshing, and I think the girls have really responded well to that, and I'm sure the guys have too. But it keeps them refreshed. But you know, from that Saturday to that Monday game, not too many times you're going to be flying that's usually a toughie. This coming will be at Stetson, I think, and then have to bus to Jacksonville, I think, and that's a bus trip. But it could certainly be more stressful because you are flying, and you have a lot of factors that you can't control, and a lot of times the buses, they can just get a new bus real quick or change the route or whatever, but you certainly have some issues that could be major issues, as we've had while you're flying. But it's certainly an opportunity with charter flights to keep them in the class and as much as possible, and certainly on a Monday night game, if you can charter home that night, you got them in class on Tuesday. If not, if you're flying commercial, stop and think. You can forget about classes on Friday because you're flying all day and with connecting flights, and you hope nothing goes wrong there. And then you play Saturday, and Sunday you travel, and Monday you play, and there's no way you're going to get back out on a Monday night. So here's traveling again on Tuesday. So you've missed Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. And it's really necessary for the big picture. Keep your team fresh and not stressed out by flying chartered, and keep them in class. So that's just, to be successful, you have to do that.
Joined by head women's coach Carrie Green, talking Liberty Flames basketball. The 10-8 Flames will take on Stetson Saturday, part of a doubleheader with the Liberty men's team playing at Stetson as well. We'll take a timeout here. When we come back, we'll have more with Carrie Green and more of your questions on Facebook Live and at our lfsn@liberty.edu email address. This is the Liberty Flames basketball show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance on the Liberty Flames Sports Network.
Well, that Super Bowl will be something, won't it?
It will be. Sure will.
Man.
I didn't see any of the games yesterday, though. Did you?
Yeah, I watched them both. Not in their entirety.
Right.
But I was pulling for Green Bay, but, man, they couldn't do anything with that team.
Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check, check.
Grandson.
Oh,
You know that guy, don't you?
I think so. Do I know? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Check, 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 check. One, two, check, 1, 2. Check, 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 check. Check, check. All right. They've got our return now. So first segment was on radio, but we just couldn't hear the return. So
Okay.
welcome back inside Iron and Ale as we talk Liberty Flames basketball. Our show weekly each week presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. Great crowd on this Monday night. Hey, if you're thinking about our next live show, it's going to be February 17th. So make sure you mark that on your calendar, February 17th. Right now, listed as our final live show at Iron and Ale, but pending postseason play in March, we might just get Kyle and the guys to maybe get another show back in here in March. But February 17th, our next live show. And again, we thank Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance for their support. I'm Alan York alongside Jamie Hall, radio broadcasters for Liberty Flames basketball. And joined now by head coach of the women's team, Carrie Green. Richie McKay of the men's team will be here at the bottom of the hour. And, Coach, you come in 10-8, 3-2 in league play. And I was looking at both schedules, how quick this season has gone by. And, I mean, March will be here before we know it. We talked a lot about the Lipscomb game. You went in overtime. How about those next steps you like to see the next week or so for your team as you get set for some road games coming up?
Alan, excuse me. Alan, first of all, just get healthy. And from a strategy perspective, just become more consistent with our defensive effort. For us, this is a conference that is a transition conference, meaning you got Florida Gulf Coast, you got North Alabama, you got Jacksonville. There's three teams that transition over 24, 25, 28% of the time. So their offense is coming off of a real fast-paced game. And what suits us best is a half-court offense and a half-court defense if we can get set. So that plays in the hands of someone like Kean Green and her size and everything, but they're not going to slow down for her. So no. we certainly have to get some other people ready to come in and play. So consistently get set for the defensive transition and hopefully execute on the offensive end and just be ready for back-to-back games, so to speak.
How do you get ready for Monday morning, the education game down at North Florida? There's going to be, last year they had some screaming kids down there. Oh, no, well, actually, it wasn't there. Where were we at last year that you had to deal with that? I forget. I know we've been at Wilmington when they did it. East Carolina did it once. Gardner-Webb.
At here, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, East Carolina.
Yeah. Well, there's not much you can do. You turn up the music or whatever because those kids, they're going to be screaming. They will get your attention, and they may even root for us because I've seen it happen. We score and they scream for us, and then I can see the teachers are hearing the teachers booing them and say, no, don't do that, And it's just we have to be focused and just concentrate on what we're doing and try to shut out the crowd anyway. But not a lot you could do to prepare for that considering we got classes, and during that game time. You just got to rip and go.
Remember last year at that game in East Carolina, Bridget had a concussion, wasn't even able to come out of the locker room. It was so loud.
Right. It was so loud, and, she just stayed in the locker room. And that was difficult for us, and we missed her. And it certainly distractions as loud as it gets. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Joined by head women's coach of the Liberty Flames, Carrie Green. Flames 10-8, 3-2 in league play. They'll face off against Stetson 1 o'clock on Saturday. And tell us an idea of the Hatters, what you've seen so far on the film from Stetson.
Well, I've got to be honest, nothing. Okay. I've been trying to celebrate that victory on Saturday, yeah. And we took Sunday off. Okay. That was a rarity. We usually don't take Sunday off, but the way the schedule has been, it's more about us right now, and you better believe tomorrow we'll start zeroing in on that. So Today was trying to just recruit our muscles and get the soreness out and get up and down the floor really quick and short and explosive and get some energy and let our minds rest. And we were just flushing out from the scout from our game, just reviewing areas that we need to address. And I don't have an answer for you right now.
You got an honest answer. That's good. But come Saturday, those Hatters better look out.
Yeah.
Flames are coming.
Be ready.
Yeah. Not only the men's game, but the women's game as well.
Yeah. Yep. It's kind of cool the way that works.
I like it a lot.
When men play on Thursday in a place, you're not going to be able to. I guess if you took a 5-day weekend, you could watch both of those games. But then the doubleheader on Saturday in between, where both teams are in the same city on the road, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I certainly like that format. You're, I think, on the road 4 times playing with your with the men and 4 times at home. So it's a lot of fun.
Still curious though on. Again, this is just me talking. You would think, and some schools get this when they go to Jacksonville, playing Jacksonville and UNF at the same time. We have not these first 2 years. And I'm just it's going to be odd on somebody going somewhere. But I was just curious on what that – I'm not needing an answer from y'all, but just how my mind's working right now.
You think they would be travel partners? And I know with an odd number of teams, there's going to be some mix and matching that's going to go on next year with the 10th team coming into the conference. And forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce the 10th team that's coming into the conference.
Bellarmine.
There you go. Sounds good. I didn't want to mess it up, so I'll let Coach Green.
There you go.
I think now you're going to have true travel partners. Everybody's going to have a travel partner. And,
makes sense.
And I think ours, the way after I saw the schedule right, it's going to be NJIT. And so you'd play NJIT maybe on just an oddball week. That would probably be your bye week where you'd only play 1 game. Yeah. And then the rest you'll be going 2 places.
Yeah. We've already looked at that schedule. It's brutal for both men and women next year. We open up with a bye. And we end with a bye. So figure it out. You got like 18 straight games or something like that. No buys. So it's just sort of a rhythm. And, I could whine, and I already have whined, but they didn't listen to me. So it is what it is. And so I'm trying to look for the good part out of all of it, and it's rhythm. Whatever the night is, if it's a Saturday, Monday, that's going to be the rhythm that you're going to always deal with. And athletes, all of us, if we're accustomed to a certain rhythm, we're going to be able to make adjustments really quick. And I hate that we start off with a bye, but certainly like it that we end with a bye.
Yeah.
So everybody else is battling one more time, and we already know basically about where we're setting as we get into tournament play.
Well, Coach, good to have you on here tonight. We'll let you go get some dinner, and appreciate you coming out and spend a few minutes with us.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Alan. And it's great to be here. As we said, great great crew here at the restaurant, and certainly a good-looking group, too.
All right, that's Kerry Green, head women's basketball coach. Give it up for Coach as we take our next break here. Coming up on the back side of this 2-minute break, we'll be joined by head men's basketball coach Rachel McKay, who's got the Flames 19-1, 5-0 in ASUN play. Stay tuned. Our weekly radio show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance continues right after this.
Hey, Coach.
What's up, Coach? Welcome back inside Iron and Nail tonight, talking Liberty Flames basketball. Alan York alongside Jamie Hall, and now the head coach of the men's team, Richie McKay. Coach, you got us okay?
I can hear you fine, Alan.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure everybody in Iron and Nail can hear you as well.
That's great. Good crowd tonight at Iron and Nail. Nice establishment. If you haven't been here, you should come take a look. And a really good segment with Coach Green. That dude is a legendary coach. He really knows what he's doing.
Appreciate you coming out here tonight. Your team playing really good basketball right now, coming off a Saturday win over Lipscomb, 67-60, and garnering a lot of attention, rightfully so. Where do you think your team is right now, Coach, as you enter this weekend down in Jacksonville?
Like the place that we're in, I think our guys have done a really good job in really trying to invest in the process of being good. And it's resulted in a competitive team on every night. I do think, as we saw on Saturday, if you're at the game or if you watched it, we have room to grow. But that's most coaches this time of year. We've got a good 8 weeks left in the regular season, and we're all striving to try and get better. And the neat thing about our group, Alan, and you know this because you're around us a lot, is they're not only great representatives of our university, of their families, and of our program, but they really do want to pursue something special. And I love the intentionality of that pursuit, but we're trying to still operate in freedom and play with a level of joy and gratitude that is reflective every time we touch the floor.
Team right now, as we talked about, 19-1, garnering national attention. You accept that. I don't enjoy it, but at the same time, you kind of have to quiet it as you get to that next game. How do you balance all that?
Yeah, it's new territory for us. I think we all have to, coaches, players, Flames Nation, we all have to appreciate the moment or the season we're in. Like, to be 19-1, I don't know offhand. I know San Diego State's undefeated, and I think Gonzaga's got 20 wins.
Yeah.
But to be in that conversation with programs that are longer, further established, that are incredibly well resourced, I do think it's a privilege to be talked about nationally, and certainly not our goal. We're flattered by it. We think it's neat. We think it's a chance for us to say thank you to the way our university and our leadership supports us. But we've got a pursuit of excellence, or if I can coin a Dabo Sweeney phrase, best is the standard. So we're really striving hard after that, and it's great getting some recognition. But we want to keep it going. We want to keep getting better, keep improving.
Coach, you kind of mentioned about enjoying the moment. I think the three of us are old enough, just barely, to remember the days before Facebook comments and Twitter retweets and message boards and all the different things where everyone is microanalyzing every single aspect of a basketball game. You beat Lipscomb by 7, and that's not a good enough win, and there's something wrong with this team, and that just seems crazy to me that some people are not enjoying a 19-1 year.
Yeah.
Do you wish sometimes you could go back to those days before all that stuff?
Yeah, good question. Now, although I wouldn't be going back to those days, Jamie. I don't know how old you are, but I have grown up with social media. No, just yeah. I think that's the trap. I think that's the seduction that you can fall into if you're not careful. And if the opinions of others are what you live for, you're gonna lead a very challenged life. We want to keep pursuing and living out of what God's word says about us, and get our identity from that, as opposed to the way we perform, how many games we win, how well we perform. I think it's natural to look at the analytics, to look at the numbers and think, okay, well, we should win by this many or that many, or our record should be this or that. That's the nature of the beast these days. Yet I hope we're mature enough to pay no respecter to that, because I don't think it matters. I think when the ball goes up, our group, our family is trying to do one thing, and that's win the game. And, of course, we want to win it the right way, but whether we win it by 1 or 21 or whatever, that's our pursuit. And I know we're ranked up there in a couple of the statistical categories nationally. Like, that's great, but that also isn't what we want to do. And if Lipscomb, if we're holding teams to 50 and Lipscomb scored 60, it's not a loss for us. It's a chance for us to look at what we need to do better. What was a Bob Goff quote that I heard the other day? The defeat or a setback isn't your enemy; it's your teacher. And I think being able to be taught after you win is a lot easier than when you don't, when you're not victorious, and you're maybe stung a little bit harder by the losses. That being said, losses are going to come. We just got to keep getting better.
Joined by head men's coach Richie McKay. Flames taking on the road this weekend at North Florida on Thursday and at Stetson on Saturday. Got any questions for the coach? Be sure to email us, lfsn@liberty.edu. You can also tweet at us at LU Flames Voice. We'll take another timeout. We'll have more here from Iron and Ale. Our weekly radio show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance continues right after this. Welcome back inside Iron and Nail tonight as we talk Liberty Flames basketball. My name is Alan York, alongside the radio voice of the women's team, Jamie Hall, also the head coach of the men's team, Richie McKay, alongside as well our weekly radio show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. Liberty 19-1, 5-0 in ASUN play. And, Coach, on Thursday you head down to play North Florida, a team that is right behind you guys at 4-1. And a venue last year that North Florida was able to win in. And I'm not saying that last year you'll look back at that as motivation, because that's not the type of program you have. But as you face off against North Florida, what are you up against on Thursday?
Well, we see a really good basketball team that's really well coached. I'm gonna take my hat off to Matt Driscoll and his staff. AY, they've done a fabulous job. Look, the league we reside in and have in I'm referencing the Big South as well, our home, our destination before we moved to the ASUN.
Yeah.
Those leagues are typically low major leagues that in order to resource your program, you have to play guarantee games. Well, Matt Driscoll takes guarantee games to another level. This year alone, I think their overall record's 11-9. 6 of their losses are to Iowa, Creighton, Dayton, Syracuse, Florida, and Florida State. And I've watched every one of those games, and there were segments of those games that North Florida was every bit as good as those teams. And when you play guarantee games, you play with the home team's officials. You have to travel to get there. You got a lot of obstacles to overcome in order to win those games. And if they had won 2 of them, we'd be talking about a North Florida team that was a net ranking of 50 or so. And I mean that. Like they have a really, really good team. And our advantage in some games, and it actually has been most nights out, is we have more experience. Not the case with the Ospreys.
Yep.
They have every bit of as much experience as us, and they're confident. They believe in themselves. They run a good system. So we know we have our work cut out for us, and in both of these games, because we have Stetson right behind them, and Donnie Jones doing a terrific job with the Hatter. So look, if you're going to be a good team down the stretch, you have to be challenged. You have to be able to get through what's hard in order to get to the other side of what you want.
This being the last year in the Vine Center, talk a little bit about the home court advantage we saw in the game against Lipscomb. And I'm not sure if this is something that you focus in on as the game's going along, but there was one segment where the Jerry's Jokers were over in the corner, and they were doing the 5-4-3-2-1, and I forget who it was for Lipscomb, chucks it up with 4
Miles
seconds
Miller
on the clock, goes over the backboard. So, there's definitely a home court advantage for sure.
No doubt. The Jokers were great. They have been great since we've been back here. I love the fanatical or fanaticism in which they support our program. It's all of our programs, but especially us in football. I think to have 6,000 people and it seemed like more when I came out in the second half. Like, it looked really full to me. It reminded me a little bit of when we were here the first time, and we were getting 7,000 and 8,000 people, so that was fabulous. We need Flames Nation to come out in full force. Like this season that we're having, I haven't been around too many seasons. Actually, this is my second. At Virginia, my last year there, we were 19-0 before we lost to Duke, so we started 19-1 like this team is, and I don't think we lost again in the regular season until the last game of the year, so I'm not sure what 29-2. But these kinds of seasons don't happen all the time, and I just hope everyone dives in to enjoy it, because it's really hard to compete at the national level, and that's what our guys are doing. They're making a name for our program and for our university, and I think because of the people that they are, man, they deserve an applause and an injection of home court advantage that helps us to climb this ladder.
I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago we might have been at NJIT, and just being around the team, and even Saturday night, everybody just stayed around the Vine Center. I mean, people they want to be around this team. And a couple of the guys were talking to family members behind us. Our post-game radio show was still going on, and they're just college students at the same time, and they're balancing all this success, and it's not bigger than what externally it really is. I mean, Coach, everybody's talking about this team, but they're able to just channel it and just be college students at the same time. And it amazes me of their personalities and how they're able to just balance it and not make it bigger or not make it lower than what it really is. And I think that's commendable to, number one, their parents and their families, but your staff as well.
Well, we have great parents represented in our players and their families. I think the mission of the university attracts a really high-quality individual. And, again, I said it last year after our Mississippi State win, we have a Christ-centered program, and I think the way our guys operate out of that spirit of humility or the deep sense of gratitude, I think it warrants and attracts people that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And, again, we're the benefactors. Coaches, it's so fun to be around them, and it's for me a privilege to do it at this place with these guys. I think there's more for us, and my personality, as you well know, is fairly competitive. My wife's here tonight; she'll tell you how competitive it is. But I think that pursuit of greatness, not perfection, is what you want from anybody that's in your family or anyone that's charged with an assignment or responsibility. And like Dr. Falwell said, and President Falwell has been nothing but a chip off the old block and emulates this as well. If it's Christian, it ought to be great, and we're trying hard to be great. And I think along the way, we've got some people that you would like to be around in that pursuit.
Coach, Frank Caliendo tells this story about how he was with Donald Trump way before the politician stuff, and they were doing a show, and I guess he was impersonating something like that. But so they do this bit rehearsal, and then Trump asks his people, was that good? Was that good? Was that good? And everyone said, oh, yeah, that was great, Mr. Trump. That was great. That was great. And Caliendo says, does anyone ever tell you it's not good? And he's like, no, Frank, that's the problem. I never get a straight answer. Yeah. Who's the person that you can go to and you're going to get an honest, straight answer? Yeah,
good question. Not sure how you came up with that analogy, but a pretty good one, Jamie. I just think I've learned over the course of my life to trust God and to trust others with my life. And I have a handful of mentors that I access. I have a wife that I'm one with that I know she'll tell me the truth. And I think the coaches that we have in our family, Seuss and I, Brad Soucy, we've been together 25 years. Derek Johnson, Kevin Anderson, Joe Pierre, Chelsea Mangino, Henry Blair, those people are fabulous. So I reside in a really healthy home. And because of that, we have our disagreements, and I'd like to be right more, but I'm not. But the great thing is we're all in this together, and we really try and own the role that we've been granted on the body. And if we can do that within our program, and our guys see it modeled for them healthy or the right way, I think they can also take a bite out of that and be great leaders or even better leaders in their sphere of influence in the future.
Joined by head men's coach Richie McKay of Liberty Basketball. Flames in North Florida tipping off 7 o'clock on Thursday. And then it's going to be down to Stetson for an afternoon ball game on Saturday. We'll take another time out. We're here at Iron and Ale tonight. Really good crowd on hand. A lot of good food being handed out here. And I'm actually going to get some once this show is over. Here at Iron and Ale, our weekly radio show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance continues after this. Welcome back inside Iron and L tonight, talking Liberty Flames basketball. Liberty and North Florida tipping off the next ball game for the men's team coming up on Thursday. The women's team and men's team both at Stetson and DeLand, Florida on Saturday, part of a doubleheader here in ASUN action. Alongside Jamie Hall, my name is Alan York. Matt Lehman back inside the studio with us tonight. Our weekly radio show presented each and every Monday night by our good friends at Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. The head coach of the men's team, Richie McKay, alongside as well. And Coach, we've got a live show tonight, the other one coming up on February 17th, and look forward to that show here as well. I want to touch on that Lipscomb game this past Saturday and how it transpired. You're up by 6 at halftime and had a number, I think 3 guys in double figures, highlighted by Georgie Pacheco Ortiz's career high. And he really made some big shots for you, and I want to touch on Scotty James in a minute as well. But your vantage point seeing Georgie do what he did on Saturday.
Georgie, as you well know, over the course of his 4 years here, he's done whatever we needed in order to try and win the game. That's why he's the all-time winningest player in Liberty basketball history, and that was no different in his representation on Saturday night. He was really good. He put us on his shoulders. But it's the beauty of this team, AY. Like I don't know how many different leading scorers Steven Gonzalez, our sports information director, who's fabulous, would be able to tell you. But I think we've had 5 or 6 different guys lead our team in scoring, and you don't get that very often. And Scotty James he did a great job. Got Hassan Asajala, who's one of the best players in the region. He got him in foul trouble and did a nice job. And you know, Lenny Acuff, Lipscomb's coach, is terrific, and I learned a lot from him. And we knew it was going to be challenging, and they got to us in ways that aren't usually how people score on us. However, I do think our guys reeled it in, and on the offensive end, we did enough to put some pressure on them down the stretch and ultimately won the game. So it's in the little things that I think too are important, in the way. I think we held together down the stretch. We didn't turn it over. We made it hard for them in terms of their field goal attempts. I just think that was enough to win. Yeah. And Georgie certainly was a catalyst in it, but Caleb's been it, Mayo's been it, Scotty's been it. Kyle Rode was unbelievable in the Bahamas, and when Caleb, we forget Caleb didn't play for 4 games. Yeah. And I didn't play the freshman much, but that won't happen a whole lot because those guys are good, and we're going to need them. But this was a game that I thought experience would win the day.
A couple of more thoughts from Coach McKay here, our weekly radio show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. I'm sitting there in the first trip we took to Nashville at Vanderbilt, and this was the day before. You guys are working out, doing some things, and I'm watching Scotty James just do some skill work, and he's working on his hook shot. And I'm like, I haven't seen Scotty utilize the hook much, but he's just working at it. And what you saw Saturday, product of when the lights are off and the band's not pumping the trombones, hook shot through the paint. Magic Johnson had a hook shot like that against, I think, the Celtics in '87 in the NBA Finals.
Won that series, yeah.
And anyway.
I was 5, so I don't.
Right.
No.
I was 22, I think, back then.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see the kids put the work in, and then you see things like we saw on Saturday. And everybody knows that hook shot I'm talking about came with 90 seconds left. Kathy says yes. Yeah. She saw it. Yeah. And it just, it's a product of just, it's kids putting in work and then seeing things kind of develop in a game.
Yeah, I think our assistant coaches do a great job in player development, and our players, they own the responsibility of trying to continue to work at their trade or their craft. So that's a shot that we've seen Scotty make a couple of times now this year, and I think he and Seuss were working on it, and DJ, Coach Johnson, and he do some skill work. But I think, again, for your program to grow, it's the guys that maybe you don't hear about or who aren't the leading scorers now that are developing and emerging in terms of their own abilities. The guys like Caleb Holmesley and Georgie and Cuff that have labored long and hard and earned the role that they have, put in a lot of time and effort to get there. and now they're striving for something greater. They all want to play professional ball. So I love the trajectory that our guys are on in terms of their individual growth and development, because they really do own that pursuit of getting better on a daily basis.
I was having dinner the other night, and I forget if it was Paul Nazigan or Tim Scarborough, but one of the two guys said this. It's got to be the best compliment.
If you went with those guys, you had to pick up the check, didn't you?
I certainly didn't get it picked up for
well,
me.
with Scar you did, that's for sure.
I will say this. Scar did not leave the building having paid for anything. I will say that.
We love Tim Scarborough, by the way.
We do. Scar's great.
Somebody said, the best compliment I could imagine, that when you look down, there's no one cares about who scored what. Nobody looks at the stat sheet after a game. And you look at the stats, and it's Caleb could score 25 points a game if that's what he wanted to do, but it comes out to where it's a team effort, and it's the sum is the sum is more than the parts. I forget what that is.
Yeah, I think thank you. That is a great compliment, and we as coaches love to hear it. But we speak it as well. Like we know that's the group. That's what our group is embodied and embraced. And again, we're the benefactors having a chance to be around them, because those guys teach us every day. So we're in a good season. We're in a healthy place. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that climb to continue to get better, or to invest in that best is the standard part, it's a fun process. It's taxing. I don't sleep a lot during the season. I'm constantly I got to learn to enjoy a win for a little bit before I dive in the computer for the next game. But I do think our guys, as competitive as they are, I think they're enjoying it. And I think when you enjoy the game, you like going to the gym a little bit more, and obviously winning helps that significantly.
Coach, wish we had more time to chat, and I know you do as well. But thank you for coming on out with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. We'll chat again on Thursday
Can't
before
wait.
we play the Ospreys. And
Let's
Jamie,
do it.
Thanks for the time tonight, Flames Nation. Thanks for coming out, and hopefully we'll have a great day.
All right, Coach. Have a good week.
Thanks.
That's head coach Richie McKay. Liberty men's team on the road Thursday at North Florida, and then it'll be women's and men's doubleheader at Stetson on Saturday. Appreciate Coach McKay and Coach Green coming out here tonight, and all of Flames Nation here at Iron and Ale. Phenomenal crowd. Don't forget, next show here at Iron and Ale coming up on February 17th at 6 o'clock. Our weekly show presented by Virginia Farm Bureau Insurance. Alongside Jamie Hall, my name is Alan York. Thank you to Matt back inside the studio. For all of us at the Liberty Flames Sports Network, have a great night, and go Flames.